Hi guys, it's Janet with Living Room Talks. Today I have Miss Erica Williams with me. Erica, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Erica Williams. I am a athletic trainer with Prisma Health in Columbia, South Carolina. I currently work outreach at Richland Northeast High School, and I have responsibilities with our patient wellness project that we have going on right now. I did undergrad at Valdosta State University and have been certified since about 2016.
In terms of
So,
mental wellness at a high school, what type of programming are you doing with them?
We don't have like a whole lot just because I'm outreach and there is a school-based athletic trainer that can deal with that a lot more. We do have a school social worker that we will refer to if we need to, and we do have school guidance counselors available. And then kind of our district is pretty good about like when there's a tragedy or anything, they do provide extra counseling services. So we do just try to make our coaches and athletic staff aware that there's things that may be going on that will affect our athletes, and then more facilitation of receiving those mental health services as opposed to actually like directing traffic and doing that.
That's really interesting to hear the interprofessional relationships you guys have in terms of mental wellness. So what are the roles and responsibilities of each of those partners?
The school counselors, I mean, especially like I said, around tragedy, they do provide more specific like grief counseling available. They make more counselors aware at a school where there is things going on. As far as like the school social worker, things we make them aware of things like if we can't get in contact with parents or, just general like, hey, I'm not sure about this. That is a person I will bounce ideas off of as far as like, hey, can you pick this up, or is this something I need to go to a counselor for? Just kind of see like their background is a little bit better versed in mental health than I am, of course. So I do try to lean on those professionals that know more than I do. So I just kind of reach out to who I think will best fit an issue and then move forward that way.
So going back to you, how did your journey in athletic training start? What got you interested in this profession?
Wow. Well, my interest kind of started in high school. I've always been interested in the medical field. But like sitting at a desk and being inside all day just never really fit my vibe. So I actually figure skated competitively through high school. And so I fell, I got a concussion. I felt like it was mismanaged. And when I went to the ER because I was just not feeling well, they were like, man, that ice rink really needs an athletic trainer because we see this all the time. And I was like, yo, what's an athletic trainer? And so I found one in my school district because we had sort of a PRN coverage, and I was never really an athlete in school sports. So the one that we had in our school district, I reached out to her and started job shadowing. And I was like, yo, this is really cool. And then I asked her about her interns and kind of where she got interns from or where she thought a good athletic training program was. And she referred me to Valdosta, and there started the journey.
So what keeps you interested and motivated working in the
Well,
profession?
lots of things. So it's like every day is a little bit different, which is cool. And then with my company now, I've been with Prisma Health for this is my fourth year now. And it's really awesome because I've been able to have a lot of different opportunities. So I started off here with a high school, and I kind of in my interview discussed like, hey, high school isn't necessarily my dream, but I just, I need a job right now, like, and it worked out. And so I've been being with such a large company, we are always growing. And so different opportunities within Prisma have presented themselves. So I was with a high school for a year and a half. When COVID shut things down, our roles changed and we were in the hospitals doing the COVID screenings at the doors and then COVID testing. When that was kind of dying down and schools were back in, I was able to begin as a head athletic trainer at a Division II college that we have outreach to here. And then I needed to step away for a little while. I felt very burnt out after about 6 months and COVID, and it was just a lot going on. So I was able to step back into COVID testing, have a little 9 to 5 break with plenty of time off, and then that kind of just I was always PRN. Like I just want to be an athletic trainer. I enjoy what we do, and so I was still able to get those opportunities, staying with the same company. And then when the opportunities present itself to return to a high school outreach setting, I was able to do that and have enjoyed being at my new school.
So speaking of COVID and your responsibility changes, what was most interesting to you working in the hospital? What did you learn during that
Well,
experience?
I learned a lot. First, first and foremost, I mean, working outreach at a high school, we don't, we're kind of our own being. We're kind of our own boss. I make my own schedule. So, like, actually having to go into a hospital setting and work with a team that I work with closely every day, doing the exact same task all the time. That was a very large adjustment just because it was just like, wow, there are so many cooks in this kitchen and we're all doing the same job. And then having meetings, having a schedule that doesn't necessarily change on the fly. And it's like, no, you have to be at work at 8 a.m. every day. Like, that's not, the traditional like role that I've had. So that was those like hard little, I guess, soft skills of just being employed. Those were something that were a little bit different for me, not necessarily hard to catch on to, but it's just like, okay, I have been enjoying going to work at three o'clock in the afternoon and getting off at 10 sometimes. Like, I just, the schedule. But I mean, like I said, we saw lots of different things as far as, how hospitals work, how security and the groundskeeping and, really every part of a hospital works together. And just being on that team was really cool. And then learning how to navigate through a world where there's a pandemic. I mean, that was an adjustment for everyone. So, still learning those things, but definitely learning them in a hospital was a little bit different. COVID testing was a new skill. And I've never had to swab people. And so going into doing that from, little babies to older people and just having to like make myself more palatable to a large population and a different type of population, because you can't talk to a 3-year-old the same way you talk to a 17-year-old. It was different, but it's been really cool and really helpful in just navigating the world.
So a lot of those skills transferred over to your current setting, your patient care now.
Yes, definitely. I mean, all those skills are necessary. It's just, I feel like just being an athletic trainer, always working in the high school or the collegiate setting, my population has been so narrow. I mean, I'm working with kids that are, between ages of like 11 and then up to 25. And that's the only population I've ever really had to deal with. And then with COVID testing, and now with my new responsibility at our wellness program, I mean, the population is different. I mean, have swabbed somebody as young as 3 months. And then, I work with wellness and we kind of take care of keeping people active and moving. And so that population is anywhere from 65 to 90. And that's kind of, so just learning how to navigate with different populations, the patient's level, and, it's different and it's nice.
So you spoke a little bit about burnout earlier. What were
Mhm.
you experiencing personally?
Well, I was burnt out. Just, I think half of it was just being in a new setting and just COVID. I mean, I did work. We were actually able to work like overtime. So I did work a lot during that time, and then didn't have necessarily a vacation because everything was shut down. And then to go directly in a new setting where there were lots of like challenges that I just was not necessarily prepared for. I was burnt out. I was in the office all the time. My patient care just was not where I am used to it being. I was more administrative in that role. And so that kind of contributed a lot to my burnout because I was sitting in an office all day, no windows, when I'm used to, okay, let me sit in my office for 4 hours and then let's go outside, let's rehab, let's have patient care. And so that really did contribute a lot to my burnout. Just, you know, being overwhelmed with the administrative part of the job. I will say that I tried things like I was outside as much as I could in my personal time, but that was limited just because of the new setting. And, just doing things that I enjoy. I like to read, I like to hang out outside, I like to walk parks. So I was doing those things, and it just was like I still was exhausted all the time. I wasn't necessarily looking forward to going to work, and my breaks were getting longer. So, whereas usually I take like 30 minutes for lunch, it's like, maybe I can take an hour, and then, how can I like be less at work and then still not feeling motivated to do the things I enjoy? So that is what really made me step away, because I felt like, okay, I'm not my best self. And so I can't be the best for my patients. And for, just my interactions, I was very irritable, and I noticed that, and that just wasn't the person that I wanted to present in my profession. So I chose to step away.
Who are some of the people that you talked to about this?
Oh my goodness. I had a supervisor that was very involved, and my boss. We talked a lot, and typically, since we're outreach, I don't see my boss very often, and maybe we talk like once a month or so. And I was calling him every week. I was calling my supervisor every week. I was leaning towards mentors. I was reaching out to professionals in our area just to kind of bounce ideas off of them. Hey, am I doing this right? Like, I leaned on everybody. I called my mom like twice a day, just calling anybody and just trying to like keep my head above water. And, my parents are awesome, and they really supported me, and they're like, you can do it. But when I spoke to them and spoke to other professionals, and it's always, you can do it, you're tough. And it's like, when I got tired of hearing that, it's like, okay, it's time for me to go. Because I know I can do it. It's not that I'm not smart or capable. I just don't want to anymore. And I didn't want to leave the profession and not like it. So that was kind of where my head was on burnout. And that's how I recognize it in myself.
So a lot of athletic trainers would have an issue or an uncomfortability talking to their supervisor about this. What was your experience like?
I was uncomfortable at first, but I also feel like I'm the type of person, and have been, that was my third school year starting with the company. And my boss and my supervisor are not people that I feel uncomfortable around. Also, I feel like they did a lot of things that they could. I mean, anytime I called, they answered the phone. They couldn't answer, they called me back. And it's just one of those things where I'm a person, like, I know when I need help, so I'm going to ask for it. And so, I mean, and I was always taught, especially in undergrad, going through athletic training, it was always like, hey, if you don't admit that you don't know something, no one can help you. And so for me, I'm like, okay, y'all, I don't know what I'm doing. Please send help. And they did. And that was what made me all the time feel like, okay, this problem seems small. And might preface it by saying, hey, this is a stupid question, but I'm gonna ask anyway. But I did ask, and it was just one of those, like, you gotta get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's where I live. So I just, hey, I need help. Please help me. And that's what it was. I mean, it was one of those situations where they knew it was gonna be a difficult transition for me, and they said they were here for me, and I had to take their word at face value, and I did, and I trusted them, and they did everything they could to keep me happy, keep me professionally, like, available to do the things I needed to do, and just helped me get through what I needed to get through.
So what makes you happy nowadays?
Ooh, being outside and patient care at work. Let me tell you, just the fact that I can go to work, I know that I'll be inside for a little while. I have some rehab to do with my kids, and then I get to go outside. And enjoy football practice, and enjoy, seeing the kids active and doing what they want to do. Oh, that is what I got in this profession for. And so, being able to do that at work every day is awesome. I mean, who gets to go to work every day and it's like, yeah, I might have a little boring part, or I might not have a part that is like my favorite. Like, no, I enjoy pretty much all of it. It's about finding the right setting, and honestly, I'm just grateful to be a part of a company that I can do that. I'm This is an opportunity that I've had and I've enjoyed, and I'm able to work and do exactly what I want to do every day. So that's awesome. And then now I'm having personal time. Like, now I don't really work on Monday mornings. If I do, it's my choice. But I do get to kind of build my schedule to where, okay, yes, I have to work a 40-hour work week. Yes, there are things that I have to be present for, but sometimes if I need to, make a doctor's appointment in the morning, or, go see my parents who stay an hour away, I can do that. And it's not really a big deal, or it's not me having to ask off or whatever. It's just like, hey, get your job done, do what you got to do. And I mean, I just don't feel overwhelmed by my personal life or by work.
So my last question for you is, tell me about an embarrassing moment or mistake you've made, and what have you learned from it?
Whew, let's see. An embarrassing moment. I can't really think of any off the top of my head because I probably blocked it out. um, I don't know. I mean, I get stepped on a lot, and sometimes it can be embarrassing when people catch my face at the end of a, like, you know how the football team, they'll like run and do a whole bunch of stuff, and then I'm small. I'm like 5'1", and all these kids are bigger than me, and they kind of get a little rowdy, and I'm just happen to be in the middle, and I'm stuck, and then I kind of am off balance when I get done. And so my biggest learning with that is like, okay, stay out the way. When they start walking this way, you start walking that way, because I don't want to get knocked over. But honestly, I mean, that's really probably the most embarrassing moment. I've made a lot of mistakes, but again, just being supported by professionals like that I respect and appreciate. I mean, I'm not ever feeling like, oh, I've made a mistake that I can't come back from, or that I haven't. I'm not like, hey, I'll tell you. I mean, in grad school, I did. We drove a van to doctor's appointments for our athletes, and I hit something. Not the best driver, so never had any business driving a 15 passenger van, but other duties is assigned. And so I hit something, and I like dropped the keys on my boss's desk. I was like, by the way, I ran into this. And he was like, what? And I said, yeah, no, like I ran into it. There's a scratch on the van. I'm fine. The kids are fine. Like, what's up? And he was like, no way. And I'm like, yeah, go take a look. And then, I mean, he looked at it and was like, you're kidding. Like, and I'm like, no, like, I'm the type of person to mess up and like fess up to it. And I don't really like get embarrassed by a whole lot. And I told him, I said, I drive a Civic and it's a little beat up because I don't drive big vehicles and I'm not the best at driving. And he just said, okay. And that was it. And it's just like, all right, just be honest and be authentic and everybody will take care of you. So that's kind of it.
So Erica Williams, last couple minutes for you, your
Mhm.
final statement.
I just love this job and I love being able to do what I do. And I'm appreciative that we have, I've watched these living room talks and it's kind of cool to be on one, but it's also like awesome just to, have a profession that we kind of know each other and take care of each other. And so it is really cool to be a part of something like this. And I mean, love athletic training, love being an athletic trainer. So thanks for the invite. And anybody who watches this and wants to reach out, I mean, I appreciate all the professional mentors available. So thanks.
Erica, thank you so much for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right.